Hey guys, and welcome to today's Coffee and Christ. Hope you're doing well today. For those familiar with the Marvel Universe, there are two characters in particular that present a unique anomaly, and that is the Blob and the Juggernaut. Now, if you're not familiar with those two characters, the Blob is, well, this kind of chunky guy who, once he gets set, he cannot be moved. No force can possibly move him. However, the Juggernaut, with his big giant helmet, once he gets moving, he cannot be stopped. And so that leads to the quintessential question, what happens if the Juggernaut, once he's at full steam, runs into the Blob once he's set? What happens when something that cannot be stopped runs into something that cannot be moved? That's a very, very good question. According to the Marvel Universe, the world ends. It's all done. Now, as we were talking before we started this video, we were commenting on the fact that little illustration with the Juggernaut and with the Blob kind of illustrates sometimes how conflict within our lives goes. That we have somebody who, I will not be moved, like that song, we shall not be moved, kind of thing.
Yes.
And you get somebody who, nothing will stop me. I will run over whoever is in my way. Nothing will stop me. And you get these two forces that, and what happens? Suddenly conflicts exploding everywhere. People are yelling at each other. Somebody's crying in the corner. It just doesn't tend to go very well.
Well, good thing that those situations never happen in marriage.
Never, ever, ever, ever. Never. Or within our families.
Oh, of course not. With our children?
No.
Never.
No, there's never any conflict. Everything is perfectly harmonious.
Yes.
Well, today we wanted to talk just a little bit about conflict resolution. We're beginning this month family emphasis within the Waterford Church of Christ. So we just wanted to spend the month talking about family, some of the challenges families face, how to make our families stronger. In fact, our theme this year is fortify your family. So what can you do to make your family stronger? So our next couple of videos are going to focus upon how we can make our families stronger.
And a pretty good place to start is conflict resolution.
Conflict resolution.
Yeah.
And we tend to handle conflict not so well.
No.
Either one, we just kind of ignore it, or, and this is typically what happens, we pretend it doesn't bother us until one day we explode. It's like taking all these little bullets. We take them out of our belt, out of our gun belt, put them into our gun, and we're slowly but surely loading up until one day we just explode and we unload that weapon on our loved one.
Blaze of glory.
Yep, just like that movie. Yep, doesn't work out very well. And suddenly this person is who we love and who we cherish and who we want the best for. We've unloaded our weapon on them because we didn't resolve conflict.
Yeah.
Generally, when we talk about conflict, one of the passages that comes up is Matthew chapter 18. Now, the context of this passage is how to resolve conflict within the church. But the church is also a family. Now, what we're going to focus on today is predominantly the first step of Matthew 18. There are times probably when it might be necessary to bring in an outside person or to bring in the church maybe in extreme situations or abuse situations or something like that. But for the majority of conflicts, the first portion of Matthew 18, I think, suffices.
Amen.
And that portion focuses upon when your brother sins against you, go to him and tell him his fault. When you recognize that something has bothered you, there needs to be a question in your mind. The first question is, how big of a deal is this? There are some things that irritate us just for a minute and then, it really wasn't that big of a deal. The challenge is sometimes we try and convince ourselves that it really wasn't that big of a deal when in fact it was. Or at least to us it was that big of a deal. So if you find yourself after a couple hours, if you find yourself still thinking about it, still irritated about it, pretty good sign you need to go talk to your family member. You need to go talk to this person about it. You need to let them know, this irritated me a little bit. Now, most of the time, it's just simply a result of a miscommunication. You misunderstood, they spoke a little differently than perhaps what they intended. It's generally just a miscommunication. But it's important that you go ahead and communicate that. Otherwise, it can start to fester and become resentment and just one more bullet in that gun. It's also important as you go towards this person, as you recognize your need to engage with them, that you ask the question, how have I contributed to this particular situation? What have I done that might have helped escalate this? Have I misunderstood? Did I misrepresent myself? Am I just irritated? How have I contributed to this? You know, that whole idea of take the log out of your own eye first. So ask yourself, what have I done as you go towards this person and begin to express to them, here's what has happened, here's why I'm frustrated, here's what I'm feeling. And the last part of that is to move towards reconciliation. Mm-hmm. It's not simply just about being right. Mm-hmm. A lot of times we try and just simply be right. We try and win. We try and, one more for us. But that's not what conflict resolution is about. It's about reconciliation, coming back together as a family.
Yeah. So break the cycle.
Absolutely.
And it's important to do that. We were talking earlier about a certain movie. It was called Groundhog's Day.
Yep, Groundhog Day.
And just explain a little bit about that day to the folks there.
If you haven't seen the movie, Groundhog Day is where this guy just relives the same day over and over and over and over and over and over again. And
sound familiar?
Oh, yeah, I know, right? Some days, he tried so desperately to break the cycle. He tried everything you think of. In fact, the entire movie is his attempt to break the cycle through whatever means he felt necessary. But it wasn't until he started doing something a little bit different that he was able to finally emerge from that day. You know, in conflict, we kind of can feel that same way with family. Some people, in fact, I suspect some of you watching this video right now, wake up every day going, oh, here we go again. Oh, it's another day. Oh, more conflict. And it's just kind of the way it goes. And you keep doing the same thing over and over again, nothing seems to change.
And his way of changing things was where he cared for people. He actually invested in other people's lives. He saw what their needs were. And that really was a huge part of breaking that cycle.
Absolutely.
Because it wasn't about him anymore. It was about others.
It was about, and in this case, breaking the cycle is about reconciliation. It's not about me being right. Yep. It's about making sure that that relationship is restored. So that starts by recognizing that things might bother you and going and actually talking to this person who irritated you. Not just pretending it didn't, but actually going and talking with them. Asking the question, how have I contributed to this? And then thirdly, seeking reconciliation rather than just simply being right.
Mm-hmm. Amen.
May the Lord bless you and keep you. May his face shine upon you and give you strength.